Good morning or afternoon or evening whenever you're watching this video. Alright, we're going to talk about problem solving today. So this one you're probably going to watch several times for every chapter, but it's very important that you understand how to problem solve. Sometimes they're going to give you word problems that are like super long or big and you'll be overwhelmed. So I'm going to give you some ideas on how to not let those word problems be overwhelming. Okay, so we have a saying. It is called UPSC. Now you can think of it however you want. I had some kids last year that would think UPS delivers cookies. I had some that would make it into an annoying sound like upska, 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 and however you want to remember it. So the important thing is that you understand what it all means. So the U stands for understand. So the first thing you have to do when you get a new problem is you have to understand that problem. So a lot of times there's all these words and some of them are important and some of them are just fluff. So what I like to say is we start by underlining important information. So underline the important info. And I always like to circle the question. So if you do those two things, it'll kind of get rid of all the extra fluff. You can just focus on a lot of times the numbers, important information, and the question that it's asking you. What are they wanting you to do? Sometimes they'll sideline you, and they don't actually want you to do what you think they want you to do. You got to read that question. The P stands for plan. Then you need to develop a plan on, okay, what is my next step? What do I do after I kind of understand the question? Now, planning could be working backwards, maybe starting at the other angle and working back. It could be finding that there's information, extra information that you don't need, or that you're missing information. Could be that you just try something, you guess and check, guess and check. Lots of different options on planning, but you've got to figure out, am I multiplying, am I dividing, am I adding, am I subtracting? What do they want me to do? Planning sometimes is the tricky part, so be really careful. If you need help planning, we can always do that. All right. Next part is solve. So whatever you decided to do, whether you decided to multiply, add, subtract, divide up here, when you planned, whether you decide to work backwards, to guess and check, now you actually have to do it. And I hope you can read that. Solve. Now actually do it. Go ahead and work out the problem. If you get an answer that doesn't make sense, then do it again. All right, check, 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 check. And then actually you're going to check your work. So you want to make sure that it does make sense. You want to go back through, make sure that everything you did makes sense. So a lot of times what I like to tell kids is if I decided up here that I was going to multiply 7 by 3 and my answer was 28, okay, down here I'm going to check. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go back through and I'm going to say, okay, is 28 divided by, work backwards, 3, is that 7? No, that's not 7. And that's when you can catch some mistakes. So that's when I'm like, oh, no, that wasn't right. This should have been 21. And then I can catch those things. So then I go back, I change this. I say, okay, now is 21 divided by 3, 7? It is, so I put a little check mark there. Okay, and I know my board's kind of hard to see. I'll zoom in real fast so you can see it a little bit better. Whoop. So the biggest things when doing these word problems is, first up, if you come over and ask me for help, I'm going to say, did you underline in the important info? Did you circle your questions? When you planned, did you know whether you were dividing, multiplying, adding, subtracting? When you solved, how did it go? What did you actually do? Show your work. And did you check? Did you go back and make sure and do the opposite of solving and make sure that it actually worked? All right, that is it for problem solving. Good luck to you.